Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 3rd, 2017, the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Carter, is recognized for 60 minutes as the designee of the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on the topic of this special order.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to remember the life of a former mayor, of a former Georgia state senator, of a former governor of Georgia, and as a former United States senator representing the state of Georgia, Mr. Zell Miller. Zell Miller passed away on March 23rd at the age of 86. He was born on February 24th, 1932 in Young Harris, Georgia, in Towns County. He was born to Bertie Bryan and Stephen Grady Miller. When Zell was 17 days old, his father died. His widowed mother raised her son and daughter, Jane, alone. In Young Harris, located in the North Georgia mountains, Miller's mother built a home for herself and her children with rocks she had hauled from a nearby stream. Mr. Speaker, I had the honor and privilege of attending Young Harris College, and I'm very familiar with this area. And I was blessed to hear about these stories, and I've always heard about the story of how Miss Miller hauled these rocks up from the stream to build her home. And it was that experience, that house, that became symbolic of Zell Miller's rugged independence. After he graduated from Young Harris College, Zell Miller continued his education at Emory University in Atlanta. But shortly after he arrived there, he found that he wasn't really focusing on his studies. In fact, in one of the many books that he wrote, Core Values, he writes about waking up in jail in Young Harris, drunk as a skunk. He tells that story in that book. I've read the book, and I remember that story. Well, shortly after that experience, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in 1953. And later, he attributed much of his success to both the discipline he learned as a Marine and the independence that he learned from his mother. He married Shirley Carver in 1954, and the couple had 2 sons. In 1956, he enrolled at the University of Georgia, where he earned a bachelor's and a master's degree in history. And in 1959, he took a teaching position at Young Harris College and returned to his hometown as a professor of history and political science. Mr. Speaker, members of the Georgia delegation are here tonight, and I'm going to yield to them. I'm going to pause. I'm going to continue on and tell you about the rest of this outstanding gentleman's life. But at this point, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to recognize one of my fellow delegation members from Georgia, Representative Drew Ferguson, and yield to him for what time he shall need.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I first want to thank my colleague, Representative Carter from Georgia's 1st District, for organizing this hour to honor one of Georgia's great leaders, former United States Senator, Governor Zell Miller. Governor Miller's leadership in our state led to the creation of something that we hold near and dear to our hearts. That is the Hope Scholarship. This scholarship program has helped generations of young Georgians build a bright future for themselves, and that in turn has led to a stronger state for our people. In addition to the Hope Scholarship and many other policy accomplishments, Governor Miller truly embodied the term public servant. He devoted his life to serving our fellow Georgians and sought to leave our state better than he found it. At his funeral, Governor Miller's grandson read a list of 14 life lessons that the governor had written to mark his 70th birthday. This list included a number of important lessons that he wanted to pass along to his family and to others. They included such things as reminding folks not to smoke. He killed his friends way too early. It reminded people to be polite, to be on time, One of the lessons that struck me in particular, and I think really describes how Zell Miller sought to live his life, and it reads this: search for your niche. It may take years, although often it occurs early in life. There's something out there that you can do better and easier than everybody else, and you'll have a knack or a talent for it. Find it. It's there. And when you do, others will beat a path to your door to get you to do it for them. Governor Miller certainly found his niche in his lifetime, and that niche was serving his fellow Georgians. Using his talents, he created a program that helped thousands of students achieve their dream of a college education, a legacy that will live on through each successive class of Hope Scholarships. We are eternally grateful for his service and his commitment to our great state and to ensuring that future generations will have greater opportunities. And with that,